You have a lot of ways that you can be compensated for something. You can be compensated. I say there's 5 real levels to it. You've got the one that most of us do, which is we give free advice. Yeah. People ask us for our help and to use our IP and to benefit from the knowledge we've got. And because we're good human beings and want to give back to other people, we help them out, which I highly recommend doing. The challenge is, where do you draw the line of spending all of your time doing that? And then that starts to take away from your family and your other time that you've got available to do things. And so there has to be, I think, a dividing line, a point at which you say, I'm willing to share and help people, but within the context of a short exchange, not something that is, okay, well, we need to dive into all the questions that I've got that are going to help me give you the advice that I can ultimately give you. And so that's level 1. That's the free advice. Level 2 is that we go and maybe we say, well, what if I started turning that knowledge into an actual compensable skill, and I charge by the hour for what I do, which I did for years as an attorney. And even if, though, you charge $1,000 an hour, right, you're limited. Let's say maybe you can bill 2,000 hours a year. So that's $2 million. And that's where you're capped out, which sounds good, but then you take out expenses and advertising and costs and partners and rent and all the expenses, and maybe you can make, $200,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000.
You're working. You're still in the time for money exchange trap.
You're I call them dancing bears, right? You're dancing bear because as long as you dance, people throw money. But when you stop because you're out of hours that will allow you to dance, then the money stops. Right. And that's the trap that you refer to, the dollars for hours trap. So I never really liked the idea of being a consultant because I saw that trap. And even though I did practice law for several years, where I did, we billed by the 10th of an hour. You get really granular with your tracking of your time, and you get really aware of what you're able to get for that and what the limitations are. So then the next level, which I learned practicing law, is that you can charge a flat fee. So the nice thing about flat fees are that if you've got a service that you perform over and over and over, it becomes kind of rote. You systematize it. You've got staff that can help do a lot of what's being done. And so if I can charge $1,000 to do a thing, like for us, it would be maybe a document. Maybe I think we charge $2,000 to form a corporation. Right. Well, I don't spend 10 minutes forming a corporation, right? I don't have to do that. I get a flat fee. So that's nice. It lets me leverage the knowledge that I've accumulated and the systems that I've built to deliver the knowledge or the service that I've got. That's a really cool model, and I think that's where most people cap out. The next level, level 4, would be where you actually get into a revenue share. So you're saying, okay, we've got a project I'm going to consult on. You've got this thing that you want to have done, and we're going to talk about it, and then I'm going to help you make it happen, and I know that I'm going to create a continuing value for you in that thing. And so I say, well, Ed, if I'm going to do that for you, maybe it's, I'm going to create an advertising campaign to help you get clients. Anything that comes through that effort that I've done to create that intellectual property asset that I own, I'm effectively licensing it to you, right, to use the way that we talked about and receiving some share of the revenue that comes from it, right? And it's better as a revenue share than a profit share because revenue, you get a lower share, but there's no manipulation of what the profits are, right? For your, your Ferrari and your trip to Tahiti with your family to have the retreat, So that's level 4. And then for me, I was just always thinking, I was like, well, what I'm doing when I do this stuff is I'm really helping somebody build their brand. I'm helping them build an asset, which I watched as an attorney people sell over and over and over for multiples of the profits that the things that I had helped create were generating. And so I was like, okay, well, anytime that you're a consultant, the rev share goes away basically at some point, or doesn't apply company-wide. It only applies to the thing you do.
Or it doesn't pan out how you thought it would on the front end, which is actually one of the most common challenges with just rev shares.
Right. Or it goes away because it's a campaign that you helped with, and they run that campaign for a year and a half, and then some other person gets to do that, right? So I was like, well, how could you get compensated on a continuing basis for the things that you do? and actually be part of the whole company that wouldn't go away. And the answer to me was to get a piece of ownership or equity in the company.
Right.
And when you have ownership in the company, then you have the ability to get paid forever. You have the ability to do something one time and have a continuing ownership interest, just like somebody that buys a share of stock in a company, right? So what I started doing was I started offering that I'll help you with this problem that you've got or this challenge. But what I want for that is I want to have a bit of ownership in the company. And so that's really kind of when I started doing that at scale.